Hello world, I'm Chris Pirillo, all appled up for the live broadcast of comments as the live broadcast of another live stream is going on. And I can't play the live stream that Apple is playing back for you. You can watch Apple's live stream, that's cool. Think of me more like a geek director's cut, even though I'm not really directing anything here. Thank you for joining me. I am live on YouTube with 299 other geeks and nerds, and maybe people who aren't geeks or nerds. I am planning on doing, just like I have done in the past with Apple's broadcasts or live events, because they have been very, very popular with this community. Oh, look at that. I got the push notification from the free LockerGnome app to let me know that this was happening live on YouTube. Have you downloaded it? It's free for iOS and Android. We send out push notifications for every new video we upload to this channel or the other vlog channel. So again, do not expect me to rebroadcast anything Apple's doing, because I can't do that. Legally, no one should be doing that. But I do have a link for where you can be following along live with Apple. No doubt you have other live blogs running on your computer or phone or tablet or whatever you're doing to stay tuned to this pretty big event. And it always is. Whether you like Apple or not, it is a rather large event, always proves to be. So I've already shared my thoughts with what I'm expecting with WWDC, but let me go ahead and place a little context around that. Remember, this is WWDC, even though I can't speak very well this morning. It's for developers, not consumers, okay? So you may hear some things that will eventually trickle down to you, but this is more for developers creating experiences for consumers. So keep that in mind. In line with that, I don't expect to hear any new announcements in relation to an iPad or an iPhone, but I do expect to hear things obviously related to iOS 8. We've seen some banners come out officially. That's not a rumor. And then, of course, the next version of OS 10, potentially codenamed 1010, because OS 10's been around for at least 10 revisions. So this is going to be fun, I think. I'm going to be talking over someone else talking, so if I trip up my words, this is the reason why. Thank you, honey. She has brought me a bottle of vodka to kick off this live stream at 10 in the morning Pacific time. Thank you for joining us. Thank you again for remembering to like, share, comment, subscribe, watch more of our videos. And if you are a patron, thank you so much. We hit 844 patrons as of today. Big number. Although 100 of these patrons, I don't know if their patronage is processed. So it's not exactly an accurate number. It may drop here in the next couple days after I go through the processing with it, but thank you. ChrisPirillo.com has more information, link in the video description. Tons of bonuses. We got 2 new shows that we're going to be rolling out this week in beta. One's going to be TGIF, Tips, Guidance, Information, Facts, and the other one's going to be something that we're codenaming OMG, which is going to be more like a news-based show. That may also evolve over time, as we learn more about the community and, try to create these experiences for you. We're just trying new things to see what sticks, to see what you might like as a geek or a nerd in this world of geekery and nerdery. As I put on my headphones, go.tagjag.com/revo, and inevitably I know someone else is going to ask, that's R-E-V-O. When I put them on already, I can't hear anything in my headphones because I have everything turned down right now on my iPad, which I'm streaming from. Oh, did you see that? It was just a still image there. Hopefully I won't get in trouble. No one tell. Diana. Hun? Why did I eat popcorn? That was a dumb idea. As I put the headphones on, Diana says, you should be putting on your Beats. And I had to gently remind her that I do not have Beats. I've not had Beats since Beats were launched. And I do not have any immediate plans to buy Beats right now. They're kind of, to me, they're just kind of bulky. These are bulky, they're over the ear, but not as bulky as I've seen the Beats. And I love these headphones. I'm not an audiophile at all, but the reason why I love this are these headphones specifically is because they work by way of Bluetooth wirelessly, or you could use this wired cable as I'm using right now. I'm not going to count on Bluetooth to necessarily work at a mission-critical time like this. So thank you for becoming a patron if you are, and I'll run through the list of during this broadcast, if only to give them credit as we kind of roll on, at least the patrons who are at that particular level. Really easy to do. And I posted something on Facebook earlier today. I mean, not just about my thoughts on WWDC beyond what I've done on YouTube already. But specifically around me being able to do things like this, I showed people how much Patreon.com has forced me to be a bit more transparent because they show a public number and people get the wrong idea. For the same content that you've been enjoying, this is how much was generated with ads, and this is how much the patrons have helped. So it's a big difference. It's a big number, and I appreciate that because it's now allowed me to potentially bring on a video editing team and other content for you. You think that it all goes to me? It does not. It's really a chance for me to expand, get better and better at what I do, add a little more production value around this type of content, not just about Apple stuff, really, also Star Wars and Lego and Google and Microsoft and, anything, within the world of geeks and nerds. So thank you for tuning in. We're a couple minutes shy of starting the broadcast. I guess I'm going to go ahead and flip through this immediately. Just do it. I want to get it done so that I don't forget during this broadcast. Again, I want to make sure that the patrons who have pledged their support are given the credit that they deserve. I am excited, but I'm nervous. And that's the one thing I think I'm more nervous than I am excited, if only because change isn't always a good thing. You know very well that I wasn't thrilled when iOS 7 rolled out. I thought it was replete with slop. I took my lumps with the community. Some people said, no, iOS 7 is fine. iOS 7.1 underscored everything that I was saying about iOS 7. And pretty much, I'm not going to say proved me right, but they fixed a lot of glaring oversights. I expect to see a lot more of that addressed with the release of iOS 8. I don't expect anything other than maybe a developer beta to be released for any new version of OS 10 or iOS today. You guys know, and gals, know that you can get access to the OS 10 betas, at least, just by signing up with Apple. You don't need to have a developer account for that, but I think you still need a developer account for an iOS beta. I do not plan on loading iOS or OS 10 betas on any of my machines. It's just not really my thing. Maybe when the GM is released, or the Goldmaster, the seed that will be pressed digitally, maybe then I'll install it as someone who is registered as a developer, even though I don't develop. But you developers out there, you are my rock stars. My patrons are also rock stars, but different kinds of rock stars. So, seems like we are staged and ready to go. The music has subsided. I know, I could have danced along. Here you go. That's what the music was sounding like. This is how I choose to dance, really. It seems like either the live stream is stopped or there's nothing going on. You're not missing anything. So don't freak out, at least that I know of. This is where I get nervous and like, do I need to hit refresh? And it seems I might have to. See, that's the thing, when you're pushing out live video and at the same time pulling live video in, there's only so much bandwidth to go around. If it gets hot in here, I will remove my my Apple cap. Okay, we have a blank screen. We have a commercial. It's a commercial. Oh, look. We're talking about developers. And I think it's a good thing to talk about developers, because without developers, we wouldn't have the experiences that we have. It's one of the reasons why I call them rock stars. So there's really nothing apart from, really underlining, what makes WWDC so valuable. Because without a rich ecosystem of applications and experiences, without empowering developers, you don't have much. And I think that's one of the things that separates Apple from, other entities. There is a rich ecosystem around Android, of course, with Google and certainly Google Chrome or Chrome OS. Anything that Google releases specifically for developers generally gets pretty high engagement. Microsoft, I think, has kind of lost a lot of mojo in recent years. And that's not to take away from the power or quality of their platforms, really, at all. It's just that I think at this point in time, and this could very well change and will likely very well change, Apple's got a lot of mojo, and if only because they have a lot of users who are in the ecosystem, who are using these products, still buying these products, and of course buying apps. And if you're a developer who's not a communist, chances are you're trying to generate revenue to pay the bills. And so you're looking for people to buy your product or use your product and be able to offset your costs with revenue. And you just, there's no other way to slice it. You know, unfortunately, it takes money to make the world go round. At one point in the future, maybe, and I hope we hit this point like in a Star Trek type of society where we won't have to worry about money as much. We're there very much right now, and this is something that I think separates Apple's ecosystem greatly from the other platforms out there that developers can engage on. And you know, and that doesn't make it inherently better. Better is relative, remember. I always kind of laugh when I read articles saying that you know, Android has more, you know, a bigger install base. There are Androids on more devices out there. Well, yeah, just like Windows is on more devices out there. But how does that add up? You know, having Windows on more devices than having Macs out there in comparison to PCs hasn't made the PC manufacturers feel any better than they have, with the market kind of changing. You know, some of the PC manufacturers that we've known and loved have had to shift gears because the marketplace is changing around them. You know, because of Windows, because of Android, because of iOS, because of all of these things, we're in this constant state of flux, which is what makes it so exciting. And it's also something that I always have to remind people at almost every turn, because it seems that people just, you know, tune into one thing that you say or one thing that you did and lock you into a point in time that, much like software, much like hardware, much like this industry, you know, opinion should also be in a constant state of evolution. And before anybody slags me and say, get back to WWDC, they're still playing the commercial. So if you want to watch the commercial, I mean, let's face it, WWDC is one big fat Apple commercial. And I think we all know that. We all love that. And that's one of the reasons why we were watching, right? I'm sitting here all in Apple regalia, and do want to remind people that at one time, yeah, Apple was a different company, and I had a completely different opinion about Apple. They shifted gears, and they became a company that I could respect. They don't always make the right moves, or at least moves that I would necessarily make or agree with. But generally speaking, I think they're on a good trajectory. You know, I'm hoping that at some point in the future, they'll have a bit more parity in the marketplace, with other entities creating good experiences for their users, or for the users at large. What's most fascinating to me, really, about how technology can potentially transform lives is that it's so accessible compared to the way it used to be. And that is just, it's exciting to know that it's not just a piece of hardware, it's not just a piece of software, but it unlocks certain things that you could otherwise not unlock. And I think that's what's most fascinating for me about software. Probably, I'm sorry, Steve. I just sneezed on Steve Jobs' typographical face. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Tim Cook, who has just walked on stage. Tim, keep this company going. I'm not a stockholder, by the way. And for anybody who says I'm biased, you're right. We all are. Everybody has bias. Everybody. But I'm not a journalist. I'm just a geek nerd person. So this is happening in San Francisco. I used to live there for a couple years when I hosted a TV show called Tech TV. Or I'm sorry, Call for Help on Tech TV, which I hope to reboot at some point with enough patrons. I want to do Call for Help. What do you think? Call for Help every day? I think we can do it. But I can't do it alone. Ah, interesting. So Tim is kind of underscoring, and I think the commercial kind of did as well, changing lives. And let's face it, how much billions of dollars I think have been paid out to developers through Apple's ecosystem? Yeah, Apple's making money, sure, but you know what? So are developers. It's not a bad thing. 25th anniversary of WWDC. Started in 1990, which is about a time when I was still in high school. I'm an old man. You probably weren't even born yet. All right. So they're really setting expectations here, or Tim is. 1,000 Apple engineers are there handling 100 sessions over 120 labs. There's a session that I'm kind of excited. The only one that I want to watch from WWDC, believe it or not, the only one. Dave Filoni from Lucasfilm, or now Disney, they've got a Star Wars session going on. I don't know how that fits with WWDC, but, you know, I'm probably a bigger Star Wars geek than I am an Apple geek. Definitely bigger than Google geek, yeah, kind of. I'm streaming, thank God, through Google Chrome. Yeah, okay. So thank Google Chrome. Let's thank everybody. Let's thank Google Chrome for bringing this to us. Thank you, Google Chrome. The youngest developer, he notes, is 13. Age is just a number. That's one of the things I love about where we are with the state of technology. It's so accessible. I could have done it. I didn't, because it wasn't easy. Back then, I mean, basic programming for me wasn't easy. Whoa, 9 million developers. 47% increase from last year. 9 million developers out there. That's powerful. Yep, exactly. They're here to talk about OS X and iOS. Just like I said, set the stage right there. Hopefully you didn't swallow any rumors out there. Do not hold Apple responsible for any delusions you might have for what you think they should talk about. Remember, this is about developers, not consumers. This is not an iPhone event. Ow. We're going to see the mother of all releases for all developers, or for developers. So I'm guessing that's Xcode. Wow. So it's going to be a big release for developers in line. They're giving basically a developer discussion in this particular broadcast, equal footing with OS X and iOS. So we're jumping right into OS X. You know, I'm fan of OS X. I run OS X on a regular basis. It's probably my default operating system on the desktop. Year over year, Mac versus industry growth. Industry shrank by 5% according to Apple. I don't know where they got this stat, but Apple grew 80 million Mac installed base. That's a pretty big number on one platform. Mavericks, the current version of OS X, is available for free if you are a Mac user. Sorry. You guys try this. Try talking over listening to somebody else and broadcast live on YouTube. I dare ya. So if I trip, now you know why. By the way, Screensaver is an open source screensaver called Electric Sheep cross-platform. 40 million copies installed of Mavericks. Huge number. And it was free. I mean, pfft. So over 50%, well, 51% of users on OS X are running the latest version, released in October. Fastest adoption ever of any PC operating system. And he's using PC loosely. I use PC loosely. I know some, people will say, no, PCs are just for Windows and Linux and not Macs. It's a personal computer. This is a personal computer. This is a PC. This is more of a PC than my first PC, a Commodore 64. So now they're comparing against Windows 8 with a 14% install base, also released about the same time. See, again, it's the nature of the beast. There may be a lot more Windows PCs out there, but that means there are a lot more iterations, a lot more users that are having different needs with different PCs. Apple's got a different ecosystem. They control the hardware, the software, the experience. That's what makes Apple unique. Microsoft tried chasing that with the Surface. How successful were they? I don't know. I happen to like my Surface Pro, or at least the Surface Pro 2. I like the Surface Pro as well. Surface RT, not so much. Haven't seen the Surface Pro 3 yet either. Haven't touched it. All right, so here we are. We're looking at OS X, but is this the new version of OS X that we're seeing on the screen? Because it looks the same as the old version. Craig Federighi is on stage. Love this guy. This guy's got a huge sense of humor. So it looks like we're seeing Mavericks on the screen. Okay, so if you're watching if you're watching this video without listening to this keynote at the same time, you should probably have both going, because otherwise I'm going to have bits of pauses in the live broadcast, and you're going to wonder, so you should be listening. So here we go. Here we go. The next version of OS X is going to be called ... Hopefully something more exciting than Mavericks. Oxnard. No, that's not going to work. He's joking. OS X Rancho Cucamonga. No, it's another joke. Thank God. Not trying to offend. Give me something. Give me a good name. Give me a name that I... OS X Weed. All right. Well, that's not exactly Colorado or Washington. It's very Northern California. Fascinating. you guys, Craig is... I'm telling you, man, he's got to lead these presentations. I swear, he's my favorite Apple executive on stage. His humor is impeccable. Here we go. OS X. Yosemite. Yosemite is the name. OS X Yosemite. I think we're going to have a lot of people misspelling that now. How many ways can you find to misspell Yosemite? Do you know how to spell Yosemite without spell check? I do. Here we go. New interface, they say. New apps. Continuity. 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 This is one of the reasons why I love Apple, for its idea behind continuity between platforms. The Mac, iOS, as well as on the Mac itself. I mean, there are a variety of user interfaces on OS X, and they're trying to clean it all up. Theoretically, this is what continuity means. Here we go. First look. First look. This is potentially alpha, potentially beta. I don't know. We're seeing circles on the screen. Not a huge fan of circles in interface design. Very iOS-looking lines. This is where I start to get nervous. Oh yeah, it's iOS-y, kinda-ish, but they're cleaning things up. It looks like they're going. Ooh, now that's some polish. Okay, some skeuomorphism still exists, but in the preview of what I'm seeing, iTunes icon's gone red. Oh, I wonder if that has anything to do with the Beats acquisition. AirDrop? Okay, no, wait. I wonder if that AirDrop will work cross iOS and, sorry, I got a little excited. I'm anticipating a feature, but I haven't seen it yet. Very flat, much like iOS, which isn't necessarily bad. Looks pretty clean. Looks like they've given it a visual refresh. I don't mind sharp corners. Don't mind that at all. iOS, just continuity. Give me continuity. Polish. Polish. They refined toolbars. Ooh, yeah, I love the toolbars now. Clean. Oh, not sharp corners on the edges. The title bar is translucent all the way up. So as you scroll through, you can see the item, like say from the Finder, through the title bar. Sidebars are transparent. This is, I almost hate to say it, but the translucency is reminding me a lot of what I first experienced with Windows Vista. One of the things, not to bring up that word here. Sorry, I realize, boy, those icons are really nice. The dock icons that they're showing off. There's still a little skeuomorphism going on that I thought they would have moved beyond. The trash can does look pretty cool. Detail, continuity. Consistent typography. Looks like they've gone with Helvetica. Yeah, I'm not sure how much of a fan of Helvetica I am. I love Lucida Grande. The dock has also lost its 3Dification. Like when you move the dark mode. Oh, cool! I love it! The menu now, instead of just being white and translucent like it's been for a while, you can turn it into a dark mode on the menu. That's cool. And the menus extend to the applications as well. I don't know if you can do dark mode on the Windows yet. So we're talking dark mode on the menu bar. So they're maximizing the space for content, squeezing as much as they can into the title bar. Yeah, messages is very iOS-y now. It's not bad. It's not bad, but I don't know if I've seen a lot of cohesiveness in some of the details. Like iMessage, the separation on the sidebar looks a little differently from separation of items as they were showing in the contacts list. So we'll see how continuity proves to be in OS 10 Yosemite. Sorry, it's a new thing for me. For everybody, really. It's cleaner. Notification Center. It's been updated as well with typefaces and continuity. But, oh, it's got a nice little Today view now in Notification Center, which is cool. I don't use Notification Center on the Mac all that much, though. Honestly, I don't like getting notifications on my desktop. Believe it or not. To me, they just kind of get in the way. So, it's interesting that you can get a view or a zeitgeist of what's going on. Oh, cool, a little calculator. It's kind of like a set of widgets in Notification Center. I don't know if you'd be able to add widgets or remove them. I'd imagine you could toggle what was there by default, but Spotlight. Yeah, I don't use Spotlight all that much. I use no, hang on. What's the name of it? Give me a second. I can't remember. Alfred. I use Alfred on OS 10. Oh, cool. So now, wait, whoa, Spotlight looks like Alfred. Ah! Spotlight is Alfred. Oh my god. Okay. No, wait. This may even be better than Alfred now. So, oh, Bing. Ooh, this is interesting. They listed Bing as something you can search from the desktop from Spotlight. Not Google. Bing. Wow. Okay, that's pretty cool. I use Spotlight, but I go to Alfred because sometimes it runs faster. So I wonder how Spotlight might be able to replace Alfred. But if I was Alfred, I'd be worried. And Alfred's the name of a piece of software, not a person's name. I mean, well, it is a person's name, but try it right now. And that's, if you want to know what Spotlight is, I mean, Alfred may be kind of like it. So Craig's launched Maps, which of course has been available for a while. So he's explaining how the title bar is there, but it kind of blends into the application itself. So it's just maximizing the amount of usable space you might have in an application. I have no feeling either way. It's not something that turns me off. I am definitely, let me put it this way. My initial impressions aren't like they are with the first time I saw iOS 7. Like, here's my reaction of Yosemite. So if you want, there you go. You can screen cap. This is Chris Pirillo's impressions of Yosemite. I mean, his first impressions as he sees them on the video. Did that work for you? Did you guys have enough time to take a screen capture? He's just demonstrating the application. So it's kind of neat. It just I like that idea. The title bar is useful, but it doesn't get in the way like it has in the past. You know, even the title bar that stretches across the screen, a lot of wasted space. So one of the reasons I like Google Chrome is that the tabs take up most of the title bar, and that doesn't bother me at all. So I'm imagining Google will be just fine with this particular update too. Oh yes, so you can edit widgets. I don't know if you can, if third-party developers can add them, but that'd be cool. That's what I want. Hang on. Let's hear. No. Oh, yeah. Yes! Third-party widgets and Notification Center. That's cool. I may very well use that. Because then you could open it up, get all the information you want at a glance, scroll through, get the applications from third-party developers that mean the most to you. Don't clutter up the desktop, are right there. That's genius. Love it. That's a great idea. That's a fantastic idea. Spotlight looks very snappy. So he's just demonstrating that you can look up people, you can look up data locally. Oh, hang on. So I'm wondering, oh, you know, what's fascinating about Spotlight is that you've got rich previews right from Spotlight now. So don't look at Spotlight like you have in the past, where it's up in the, you know, the upper right-hand corner of your screen. It's now in the middle of this screen when you launch it, and you've got rich previews of the data you're searching for. So instead of having to open the mail application to reply or to get information about a map or a person, you now got all that rich information without having to launch an app further. So it's quicker access to the information that you are looking for, that you're digging for, as long as you know what you're searching for or that it's indexable. So I don't know if you can do inline editing or replying yet, but we will see. Oh, nice. So if an app is, I'd imagine this is an API call, but he was basically spotlighting numbers, and he's typed in NUM, it showed numbers, and then underneath it, the recently used or opened or edited documents within numbers. So you don't have to open numbers to open up recent documents. You don't have to have a constant recent documents list. You don't even have to remember what you named those recent documents. You just remember what program you used or app you used to launch it. Cool. Very rich experiences, including being able to do a whole bunch of stuff within Spotlight and drag and drop text from Spotlight to a document. Wow. This is very rich. Yeah, no doubt. This is absolutely an Alfred killer. Alfred just got Sherlocked. You guys remember Sherlock? I used to love Sherlock. Maps. We'll see if they improve the maps data, though, over Google Maps. So he just does a search quickly for sushi. He sees map results right within Spotlight with all the rich information. Looks like it's pulled in from Yelp, which is dangerous because Yelp is a completely different company. So now he's doing a search for Godzilla, if he can spell it. Oh, dude, you get Rotten Tomatoes data right from within Spotlight, as well as content he could stream directly from the iTunes store. I wonder if that's extensible by way of third parties, because there may be a third party that has data, like Netflix. I would want to include Netflix data in my searches. I would imagine, theoretically, because they showed third-party widget apps within their notification center. I'm curious. If anybody has any information on that, because they didn't really cover it here, well, let's stay tuned. Now they're talking about iCloud Drive, possibly bringing back iDisk, which is good. I don't know about costs, though. It's one of the reasons why I haven't upgraded Dropbox. I've been using Copy for so long. So iCloud now has folders, or the iCloud Drive has folders. iOS documents, OS 10 documents, it's all synced in the clouds. All your own files of any sort, organize them however you want, with folders and tags, synchronized automatically across all the Macs by way of iCloud. So they're making it seamless, effectively. I mean, SkyDrive has done a pretty good job with Microsoft. And it's... Here's the thing. All that is data. Oh my god! Oh, sorry, didn't mean to scream. Windows will have support for iCloud document synchronizing. Windows, you are included. iOS is included. Get to your files from iOS magically, automatically. That's exciting, because it's just easy and it's built in. Okay, Mail, I love. I use Mail on the desktop. I use it, connect to an Exchange server. A fundamental problem with email, where you want to send large attachments, like video or photos, and then normally you would get an error saying, it's a big attachment, can't do it. So, they've got a new technology called Mail Drop. And I think Google's kind of got this too with Gmail. You can drag a big file in and it uploads it to your Google Drive. So instead of attaching the file, you just get a link to the file. So now, by way of this particular new feature, the data is encrypted through iCloud and the recipient gets it. Now he notes if they have a Mac, they get it like before. If they have another client, like Yahoo Mail is the example, they get a link to an attachment, or where they can download the attachment rather than the attachment itself. You can attach, quote unquote, files up to 5 gigs in size. Hello? Dropbox, gone for me. Let's see here. Oh, this is cool. In Mail, they're still demoing Mail, showing annotations, a markup right within a mail message. So you can mark up and edit PDFs with email message, including signing PDFs. Oh my God, this is genius. Oh my God. It's a wonderful feature. I stamp my PDFs with the digital signature that I made because I have to sign documents all the time. It's a time saver. Love it. Annotation, so now I don't have to launch Sketch to do annotations on an image that I get through email. Now they're updating Safari. So Safari looks a lot... okay, so they crammed everything into the title bar, and it looks like that's going to be the ethos for apps, which, again, I don't know how I feel about that. Safari on the desktop on OS X almost looks like Safari on iOS, on the iPad at least. The title bar is centered. You've got smart search suggestions within Safari, as well as spotlight suggestions from within Safari as well. That might be a Chrome killer. So if you want to subscribe to an RSS feed, you can, which is great because we have RSS feeds you can subscribe to if you want. I know most of you won't, sadly, but that's okay. We have them for you. Safari will now show the people you've messaged with most recently, so you can share with them more easily. Great, love it. Now they're showing tab management. Like, they've got a Zeitgeist tab view, which has been a plugin for a while, or I've seen plugins like it. You can stack tabs from within the browser. So it looks like a useful feature. So I don't know, like I said, I kind of go back and forth between Google Chrome and Safari. Safari's got the speed, no doubt about it. Chrome just doesn't have speed in terms of user interface responsiveness on the desktop compared to Safari. And trust me, I try. Like I said, I'd have to do some comparisons and just kind of feel my way around. I like Google Chrome, if only because I know I can get to it from anywhere, and all my everything is synchronized, and I can use Android, or I could use iOS, or OS X, or Windows. That's the one thing that keeps me on Chrome as a default browser, and it might likely stay that way. So I'm just like, oh yeah, this is what's happening. But I'm telling you, I'm thinking through my use cases. That's where I said Dropbox. Dropbox kind of, I think they're overpriced. That's me. After I got Copy, I use Copy to transfer things all the time back and forth with people. So now they're talking. Now this is interesting. They're talking about energy efficiency within software, which is genius. You can get if your mobile powers everything, your battery life's everything, and they're showing that with DOM performance, JavaScript performance, HTML5 video performance. They're showing, and I don't know where they get these stats. They've got a way to save battery life compared to Firefox and Chrome. So that's a pretty big deal. Safari may very well be a better mobile web browser for you on any Mac. Now, they say typical website JavaScript, Safari's got the best JavaScript performance. Again, they're not quoting sources here. I'd imagine they're going to run through demos, and I'm fairly confident neither Firefox or Mozilla or Google will take this lying down. But that's the genius. That's the thing. You want competition. Competition's a good thing. So now we've got a person on stage who's giving a demo of Safari. I love it. It's really great. Okay, yeah, we know. Just get on with the demo, right? Because they're supposed to say that. So Safari, I mean, he's got a web page in there, but it doesn't even feel or look like a web page. You know, it's content, right? That's pretty cool. I think they make they're making the web browser just kind of melt away, yet you just be there. I mean, there's just not a lot of extra Chrome. A Chrome, not to be confused with Google Chrome. So, ouch. He's searching for, let's say, Ansel Adams. You see Wikipedia search. You see Wikipedia is tied into Spotlight, by the way. At least searches. Google search is, or Google searches are included as well. So it's convenient, it's quick, it's right there. You don't have to think about it. I'm not sure if I'm not sure if I've even liked Safari's tab management system. Oh, interesting. If you've got a lot of tabs open, now you can scroll through them, like a horizontal scroll, which Apple's implemented pretty well. So you can get access to more tabs without them squishing down so you can't see the titles. But man, I want the fave icons. It's another reason why I like Google Chrome. Give me the fave icons, dude. Come on. You can do it. Oh, competition. I just wish Chrome would rival performance, and it doesn't. Hell, Chrome doesn't even support emoji. Twitter supports emoji. Firefox supports emoji. Google Chrome developers are sitting on their thumbs in that respect. I've subscribed to every thread on the code or the developer site just because I want to see. Oh, interesting. Interesting way or quick way of sending images directly from the web. Pretty nice. So if in email, when you've got an image there, you've got a new little toolbar, this feature called markup. So you can do any kind of, like adding text, boxes, lines, annotations, which is awesome. This is very, very handy. This is very, very helpful. I wonder if Preview gets the same image editing features, because sometimes that's all I want to do. Oh, so this is interesting. The annotation tool allows you to like almost create a magnifying glass around a certain part of an image, and you can just draw directly on the image, call a part of the image out, zoom it in bigger than the rest of the image, and oh wow, so he drew an arrow, and then it looks like it vectorized the arrow so that he can move it around. So this reminds me a lot of Sketch. Genius. This, I mean, it's a feature that you would normally have to get third-party software for, which most people won't. So I see a Dropbox killer, I see a Sketch killer, I see an Alfred killer. Oh my god. Markup just made a comic bubble. He drew what was a kind of like you know, a comic call-out bubble, you know the bubble with the little thing on it. He made a comic bubble simply by kind of sketching out the outline for it. That was... The rope is multi-threaded. Ha, 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 ha. Because he zoomed in on some mountain climbers here. Wow. This is going to be abused, I'm sure. But it'll keep a lot of people from making very sloppy annotations, which is usually what happens. People use Microsoft Paint, and it's just this crappy little thing. People do genius things with Microsoft Paint, though. Don't blame the tool sometimes. It's not the tool so much as it is the user. But sometimes if the tool works smart enough for any user, that's a good tool. So Craig Federighi is back on stage. Sorry if I said his last name incorrectly, but I am tripping over things because he's talking. Now, he's talking about continuity. This is what I'm interested in. You should be able to use the right device for the moment. Let's set some context here. iPad when you're kicking back on the couch, your Mac when you're at the desk trying to get some work done, your phone when you're moving around or you're just, kind of, on the go. Continuity. AirDrop. Okay, so this is exciting. Okay, so now AirDrop works between iOS devices and OS X devices, which means if I have a file, instead of having to message it to me or something, I can just drag it into AirDrop and it could be accepted on iOS or vice versa. Love it. Something called handoff. Interesting. It's a new feature. So now what they're talking about is you're on your Mac, and now with AirDrop, you are your devices are aware of each other. So let's say I'm working on an iCloud document. Holy sh! Okay, what he just demonstrated with handoff is you're working on numbers on the desktop, and you see on your iPad, you get this little icon that pops up. What happens is you can transfer from editing a document on your desktop directly to your iPad, so you can take it and go. because you've got context, you've got understanding. So you're doing email on a phone, you're typing on a phone. Well, the Mac may, if I'm on email on my phone doing things, it'll automatically transfer from where I'm composing on the email on the mobile device to the desktop if I'm within proximity. That is cool, dude. Love it. It's awareness. Instant hotspot, a feature, and it's showing an icon of the iOS device, iPhone. So now it will see your phone and give you an option of automatically, easily giving you, with authentication assumedly, the ability to connect to a mobile hotspot without any configuration. I've been waiting for something like this for eons. Genius. You know, assuming that you're within proximity of a Mac and, of course, an iOS device that, you know, has a connection, like an LTE connection. Something not Wi-Fi, obviously, because if you had Wi-Fi on one device, you can get Wi-Fi on another device. So now, he just referenced green bubble friends, which in iOS speak is basically someone who's not running on an iOS device. And they insist on sending messages, which is difficult because the messages don't show up on the desktop, and that it makes it very difficult. But now they've got green messages on the desktop. Yay! So the phone acts as a relay, transparently, to have messages synchronized between iOS devices, like including ones that aren't your phone, and your desktop. Now, on OS X, you can make and receive phone calls on OS X. The Mac now will show caller ID, and you can accept the call and use the Mac as a speakerphone. These are things, again, they were like third-party hacks or add-ons before. Now it's there, it's built in, it's convenient. Wow. Okay. It works even if your phone is across the house on a charger. How the hell they work that out? Same Wi-Fi network? Probably same Wi-Fi network. That's great. So if my phone's in the other room and someone calls, I get a notification here. Love it. Looks like the web pages in Safari now have data detectors, so you can call directly from your Mac if you see a phone number. Let's say I'm searching Google, you go to a phone number, click it, you can call directly from your Mac. Skype killer gone. Ouch. So now Craig's going to give us a demo. Okay, these features have got me more excited than the Mavericks features. I can tell you that much right now. And given that Mavericks was free, I expect that Yosemite is also going to be free. In fact, I think the biggest problem with Yosemite is that people won't be able to spell it. In fact, I'm going to tweet that. I'm going to tweet that. Hang on, as Craig's demoing a couple of features. So he's keying in a message on his iPhone. The Mac was aware that he was using his phone. With a click, the same message he was composing is right there on the desktop, so he can continue working with it. That is genius. All right, hang on. Honey, can you entertain people while I tweet this? I think the biggest problem with OS X Yosemite is that people won't be able to spell it properly. That makes sense? Okay, let me make sure I spelled it correctly. Oh, did I? Y-O-S-E, baby? How do you spell Yosemite? I'm sitting here ready to slag everybody else, and I better fact check myself. Because all he's doing is demoing these features we just talked about. Yosemite, I did spell it correctly. Google did not correct me. Thank you. Okay. Whew. I think the biggest problem with OS X Yosemite is that people won't be able to spell it properly. Bam. Tweeted. Craig just denied a phone call from his mom. Wow. And he got a whole bunch of awe from the audience. Genius. Look at that. 7 retweets already. You guys are paying attention. You guys are ready, weren't you? Oh, that's pretty genius. I love the fact that you can dial from the desktop now. God, so many times I've been wanting to do that. Oh, here's a cool thing. If you guys use conference calls like I do, the nice thing with this has been going on with iOS for a while. If you have a phone number that has like a conference connection code, just put a semicolon in between the phone number and the conference code, and when you dial it, it'll dial the phone number and then put the rest of the numbers in queue, so you can just press that the numbers in queue for the conference number, and it'll dial it automatically for you. So you don't have to enter in the conference number automatically. You can just separate the phone number from the conference number that you're dialing into, and it's easy. It's convenient. iOS, love it. Now you can do it from the desktop. This is going to be great. So now Craig is calling Dr. Dre. Hey, and he says, "Hey, how you doing? This is Dre." Well, yes. Hey, doctor. Oh, cool. You get wait on the desktop Mac, the Mac that he's using to call. So he's welcoming Dre to Apple. You can see not exact waveforms, but you see like an equalizer coming through. Now, I don't know if that's a dynamic equalizer, a true equal. Yeah, it looks to be a true equalizer, just to show you that stuff is kind of going on. And it looks very much like a translucent little box, very much like a FaceTime call, without any kind of video, at least at this stage. Oh, but he does have the option to go to video. So again, Apple's making it seamless for FaceTime users. You don't have to think about how you're connecting, where you're connecting, what you're using. It's continuity. And again, no one else has come close to this. Desktop operating system, mobile operating system. You just don't want to think about it. Okay, this is cool. Spotlight. But they're saying access to all sorts of sources, but they didn't tell me if there's third-party support for Spotlight. I think backup just became less of an issue too. You just don't have to think about backup. Just drag it into iCloud. You're good to go. And, by the way, you guys should turn on two-factor authentication now. Developer preview available for today for OS X Mavericks. I'm sorry, Yosemite. It's going to take a while to get used to this. Everyone else gets it in the fall. And it'll be free. Well, that's not a shocker. Yeah, that like, if anybody thought it would cost money, they're deluded. Of course it was free. Summer, they will have an OS X beta program. There you go. So you can join it. Here we go. Just go to apple.com/OS10/preview. Sign up for the beta. Yeah. You know what? I might do that. I don't know. The only thing, I mean, I'm hesitant to like share a lot of this stuff publicly because I don't want to get caught in some like terms of service agreement or where I shouldn't have shown something that I showed. Apple's really, really picky about that. You got to be careful. It's another reason why I try to stay away from rumors. Okay, next up, iOS. $800 million iOS devices have been sold. Each of the categories of devices sets its own significant sales record. iPod Touch passed 100 million. It's a lot. iPad has passed 200 million. iPhone, 500 million units. That's a lot. I mean, compare that with... What you have to compare that to is, let's say, another device manufacturer. Not just an ecosystem, but specifically another company. Another device that's within the one company's control. 130 million new to Apple in the past year. It's a lot. It's a few. Now, I can't imagine that slowing down anytime soon with continuity now. My God. You want to talk about a killer. Oh, who doesn't have a smartphone these days? Apparently 500 million do, at least. Way more than that. Yeah, he's talking about Android. Now, I don't want to slag Android. I wish he wouldn't do... I wish Tim wouldn't go this far, and I know why he's doing it, but Android is... It's a different beast. It's a different ecosystem. It has different values. Android works very well in context. Now, Tim's talking about Android. He claims that customers in China switched from Android to iOS. I can't they've got the numbers, not me. And here, but like I said, if you're going to compare these numbers, you got to look at iOS from Apple to Android on HTC or Android on Samsung or Android. Look at the numbers within one company, because Android's not a company. Android, it can be used by many companies, including Google. Compare the verticals. That's a better number, because what does one company care if another company that has the same product or that runs the same product is doing better or worse? They want to do better. So this is the thing you got to keep in mind. You know, when you look at these numbers, this is why I say you got to be careful when you're comparing. And I think Apple is comparing apples to oranges here with Android and iOS, because they both absolutely have their merits, and I happen to like the direction that both are heading in. There, I said it. I said it. Hate me for it. The installed base of iOS 7, 89%. Now I know where Tim's going with this. He's going to be referring the versions of Android that are out there in the most popular install, the version of the operating system of Android on any phone. But Google's kind of circumvented that with Google Play services. Hang on, Tim. It's not fair. Okay, this isn't fair. Tim's saying that KitKat's at 9%. So he's saying that the latest version of Android is only available on 9% of all the Android devices out there. But he's not. What I want to see is the percentage of Google Play Services installs. I'm just throwing that out there, folks. And I think that people who understand what's going on with that would understand that number better than just saying one operating system versus another. Don't get me wrong, I wish more Android devices had the latest version, but with Google Play Services update being pushed down the pike independent of the Android version, I think Google's mitigated a lot of the problems with the Android ecosystem, and speaking to a lot of the issues of having so many Android devices out there. I think Google's done the best job possible, and they'll continue to do so. I know you guys weren't expecting me to say that in the middle of WWDC presentation, but I gotta say that. Okay, now, to be fair, Tim's talking about the mobile malware market with Android. The thing you got to keep in mind, 99% of mobile malware is on Android. But if you use the Google the Google apps, the Google Play system. Oh, Adrian Kingsley Hughes just got quoted. Hey, Adrian. Okay. If you use the Google Play App Store, malware, I'm not going to say is non-existent, but there's a lesser chance you're going to get malware because you're going through Google Play. Most of that malware is going to come through because you're downloading, unsigned apps. You're downloading apps outside of that ecosystem. Only use Google Play. If you want to be safe on Android, just use Google Play. Unless, of course, you're in Amazon's ecosystem. Then just use the Amazon App Store. Okay, guys? So please, hopefully I addressed in a cleanest way possible. There are merits on both sides, but I try to provide context that kind of speaks past Apple's marketing speak. I'm wearing an Apple hat, but that doesn't mean I don't have perspective across the entire industry. So, iOS 8, they're going to be talking about now. Developer features. They're underscoring developer features here, doubling down on developers. So this is going to be exciting, I think, to talk about what's new with the developer tools. And of course, we'll be talking through it with WWDC. They said that they're going to give it equal play with OS X and iOS. I'm interested in that because the developers are the ones who are in charge of your app experiences. Works for me. Craig's back on stage. Love this guy. I swear I have a man crush on Craig. Builds on the design of iOS 7. Ugh. Can we clean it up a bit, Craig? In iOS 8, they've refined Notification Center. It looks exactly like iOS 7, which I'm not thrilled about. So now you can now reply. Let's say and I think Android's got features. They've had features like this in context notification. You can interact with notifications. So if you get a notification like a message, you can swipe down and reply to that message without launching into the Messages app. Nice. You can now take action on items within the lock screen. Very nice. Been waiting for that for how long? So it's good. Interesting. So now when you double tap, not only do you get a list of the apps on that are running. So like normally, see, I can swipe between apps. In iOS 8, you can see the recently contacted people up here. Very nice. Bird's eye view of tabs within Safari. So they're trying to make the iOS version of Safari work a lot like and look a lot like the desktop version on OS X. But each of them works within context of one another. So it's easier to flag a message or different swiping abilities within iOS Mail. Ah, crap. Composing messages on iOS. Sorry, I got a notification and on iOS it paused the video. Stop. Fix that. Swipe the message down, and you have access to the rest of the mail. Instead of being in the middle of a message and composing it and realizing you want to see what's back there, you can now swipe the message down and then come back to it. So kind of nice multitasking within the app. So now he's going to go into a demo of iOS 8. I'm not seeing a lot of polish that I'm hoping to see in iOS 8. I do appreciate... I'm not a fan of the way they handle lines in iOS 8, and I'm not sure if I like, or iOS 7 even, or even OS 10 Yosemite. The lines just seem incongruent to me. And I'm just annoyed by it. So he's showing, or he's demoing that he's going to get a notification, theoretically. There we go. So he gets a message. Swipe down barely. You can, type in a message. You can even send an audio message back if it was a message. Works with third-party apps like Facebook, he shows. So now you can, if you see a comment, you can like the comment from within the pull-down menu. You can comment back from within the pull-down menu. So notifications that come down that you don't want to pay attention to, you can swipe away, but I could do that before, so that's not new. So he's double tapping the home button, showing the recently contacted people. Some favorites, very nice. Diana, you are in the favorites still. You are in my 5. So you can tap their icon, call them, message them, FaceTime right there from within the a double tap of the home button will pull up that screen. Pretty convenient. So now they're showing some enhancements to mail. So he's demonstrating that message. They're making... I've seen some refinements. I mean, it's iterative. Nothing really dramatic like, wow, this is a killer feature. Maybe for some, the Notification Center is. I guess I use Notification Center all the time, but it's nice to be able to take action on. Okay, yeah, that's a nice feature to have. It is a nice feature. Killer feature? I don't know. Nice feature if you're an iOS user. Just an iterative feature if you're not. So taking action on mail items more easily. So he's just showing that it's easy to mark red. Although that looks a little crammed. That mark as unread looks a little crammed. See, that's the thing about iOS 7 and 8. That some text just kind of looks crammed in spots. Okay, so he's replying, or he's looking at a message. And Johnny, this is an old picture of Johnny Ive. So Johnny, I think, sent him a message potentially, or his picture was in there. So he's just showing how it's easy to swipe and take action on a message. So, some interesting new features in iOS Mail, and it is the Mail app that I choose to use. I know other people use the Gmail app if they use Gmail, and I don't use Gmail all that often. So, I mean, it's nice feature additions. What I'd be interested in the OS X Mail, you've got that, what is it called? Annotation? What is the feature called? Sorry, it's so new, I can't remember. I don't see him talking about that on iOS, which would be very handy to have on iOS. Imagine being able to tap an image and annotate it right there in line. That'd be insanely convenient. Who knows where that... If and when that'll come to iOS. I'd imagine down the line, it may have been a feature that they had to scrap. Okay, so now they're showing Spotlight from within iOS 8. So, Spotlight suggestions on iOS 8 can now search for apps that you don't yet have. You can search for points of interest, like through Wikipedia, or get you Wikipedia or directions to something. Great. Sports, restaurants, data, songs, not just your library, but also on iTunes. Movies, so you can get movies that are playing in the theater or nearby, as well as content available on iTunes. So they've just made it easier. I like that maps feature, because sometimes I'll search for an endpoint and then have to do 13 different things after that. So in Safari, the rich response on iOS happens much like the same way Spotlight and Safari are handled on the desktop. Sorry if that didn't make any sense. QuickType. All right, so now is this a Swift key killer or swipe killer? QuickType. QuickType. Okay, now they're showing a BlackBerry keyboard with a physical keyboard. I love the iOS keyboard. I do. It's one of the best keyboards I've ever used on a mobile device. So quick, so easy, clean. Autocorrect usually works. Not always, damn you, autocorrect. So, now he's talking about autocorrect specifically in iOS 8. Okay, so now we'll see how this works. So now you get predictive typing suggestions. So I've seen things like this before. So you don't have a swipe feature, but as you're typing, it's context sensitive. Wow. So let's say messages comes in and says, "Do you want to go for dinner or a movie?" This quick type automatically realizes it's asking a question, and it'll give you an ability to type either dinner or movie. Genius! Just with a press of a button. That's smart. Okay, it's contextually relevant. I don't know. Every time I've tried using these types of systems, I wasn't thrilled with them, because I'm always typing. I'm not necessarily looking at the screen. It learns how you type. Can you correct that though? It's always protecting your privacy. All the learning is done local to the device. None of the keystrokes leave the device. QuickType has language support all across the board. Well, not every language, of course, is supported, but he's showing a list of country flags, including Canadian support. That's good for you Canadians. And, you know, I guess you have a different English. Continuity is also mentioned. So that continuity works if I'm working on the iPhone. The iPad realizes that it's around, so I can move from editing on a document on one thing to another, or something on one to the other. When you receive a call from someone on your phone, you can pick it up on your iPad. You can pick it up on your Mac. So that continuity, I love that idea. So simple. If anything is going to get people to move to something like OS X, that would be it. Most frequently used on iOS is messages. Doesn't surprise me. Group messaging enhancements. You can now name your threads. Add or remove people to a conversation. Do not disturb. Leave thread. Thank God. Oh, God. Leave it. That's awesome. Okay, nice features. Nice additions to group messaging there. Of course, it works really well if you're all on an iOS or OS X device. You can share your location with people in a conversation. Wow. Okay, this is convenient. And if they share their location with you, you can see it all within messages. Better than Find My Friends. You can see all the attachments that are shared within a thread. Very clean. Love that. Tap to talk. Hold your finger down on the microphone and swipe up when you're done talking and send what you said. So it's kind of like a walkie-talkie kind of thing. Great for video messaging as well. Now they're going to demo this particular feature. Honestly, I tried it in Facebook for some people. Like, if instead of just typing things out, I'd take a picture and then annotate it. And then, of course, it would be sent. So it's nice to see that feature within messages. I don't know how well that works on OS X. They're still demonstrating iOS. So they are now taking action on a message on iOS. He's just demoing the thread. What I want to go back to the idea of synchronizing text messages from people who aren't necessarily on iOS or OS X. That's a killer feature for me. I don't care what you use. I really genuinely don't. I just want to communicate with you. That Find My Friends is really nice. So then, instead of someone saying, where are you? You can either ask for it, share my location, send my current location. That's awesome. Share indefinitely, share for 1 hour, share to the end of the day. Yeah, but I wonder how much power that takes. What's the power? Oh, do not disturb. Interesting. Mute notifications for this conversation. I guess I don't really get caught up in conversations I don't want to get caught up in. Rarely does that happen. I would just not communicate with that person. You could leave the conversation. Now, I don't know if that's just for groups or individual I think it's potentially between groups, all these features he's talking about, but some of them may very well apply to just individual messages back and forth with people. And I'd imagine we'd have some amount of feature parity with iMessages on iOS and OS X. But they didn't really talk about some of these features on OS X. Although I can't imagine like a tap to send a message on. Well, they didn't really show that, did they? It'd be nice to be able to send a quick audio message from the desktop. That'd be very convenient compared to iOS. So he's demonstrating the tap to hold, slide up to send a voice message. Instantaneous walkie-talkie. What was that called? HeyTell? Didn't we use HeyTell? Loved HeyTell. Stopped using it. It got annoying. Hold down the camera button. Easy to take pictures instantaneously. Tap. It's just quicker. It's like you tap, hold, slide up, and you're good. You're like, yes, I like it. You let go, and you are good to go. Kim sent or I guess he's talking to Kim. Sorry. So you can press play within the message without leaving it. Pretty clean. But I want to know if you can do the same thing on the desktop. That's what I want. Audio and video messages take up space. So of course you can clean things. But you could do that already. You could edit a conversation within a group thread or an individual thread on iOS within messages. So that doesn't seem like it's a surprise. So Craig's getting a haircut. He sent a video message. It's pretty fun. I'm telling you, he's the least Apple guy that I know that I like. Ooh, it's interesting. In the notifications on the lock screen, you can see who sent it, like the title of the messaging thread, and you can see it's an audio message right there within the lock screen. So if he picks up, he sees that someone sent a voice message, he can hold the phone up to his ear, and it plays back that message, and then he could immediately respond in text without unlocking, without opening an app. He can basically either tap the button to record a message back, or hold the phone up, and it automatically responds with a voice message. So walkie-talkie, 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 hun, walkie-talkie, walkie-talkie. Hun, are you hearing me? Are you in there? Okay, am I annoying you? I can't hear her very well, but I assume that I'm annoying her. That's just a good assumption with me around, that I'm annoying people. So, that was the demo that they were demoing for the demo. Next up, iCloud Drive. This is exciting. I mean, this has been available through third parties for a while, especially with document editing. And I just don't use iCloud document editing. So he's in a third-party app right now. You can bring up your iCloud Drive panel and open your documents from within other applications that are compatible, of course, with the iCloud storage. So, wow. So let's say in iCloud I've got an image and I open it on an iOS device in an app. If I edit it, it saves back to that original location. So you're always dealing with the same file, same versions invisibly. Oh, new feature, Enterprise. Yeah, there's a few people applauding Enterprise. Okay, of course, Enterprise does love iOS, 98% of the Fortune 500 are using an iPad, or I'm sorry, iOS. And he says, we're going to get the last two. I don't know about that. So, I mean, they're showing a whole bunch of features that are available or have been available within iOS specifically for enterprise, which isn't a big deal for individuals or consumers. But a big deal if you use iPad within the enterprise or iOS within the enterprise. They're mentioning their device enrollment program, which is, again, very, very helpful for those in that space. You know, they're talking about how difficult it might be to get iOS devices up to speed within enterprise. So now what they're saying is, when you get an iPad or iOS, or when you get an iPad or iPhone or an iOS device, and you're a part of this program, when you set it up initially, all that enterprise, the enterprise software, the install will happen automatically. That's great. No, it's great. It's huge time saver for IT managers. Passcode protection for all the major data. Per message, SMIME. That's fantastic. VIP threads. This is enterprise. If there's a thread you're on or message you send, you can get a notification specifically for an email thread. That's awesome. Automatic reply from Exchange, which I use. Free busy information I use in Calendar. Document providers. This is awesome. Not only do they support iCloud, they integrate OneDrive. I'm sorry, I said SkyDrive earlier. Sorry about that. Box. So it's not just cloud. If you want to integrate within iOS, if you use Box or Dropbox or any of these things, they extend it so that you can support it. Managed books and PDFs. Oh, that's hugely, hugely valuable for education. Wow. But, okay, so that's for enterprise, but, health. We have health. Apple's going to remind me how unhealthy I am. Hey, I'm drinking water. That's a start. So now they're showing health. Third-party apps, third-party hardware. This is interesting. This is interesting. Will we hear anything about something on the wrist? Will we? Don't know. Could we? Should we? Shall we? Can't get a comprehensive picture of your health situation. Health Kit. Now, this is probably specifically for developers. It provides a single place where all your applications that take advantage of the API, they can basically write into the Health Kit. Health, you can monitor all of the data that's being pulled in from a variety of devices in one spot. Great. You can use third-party apps. You control which apps have access to which parts of the healthcare or your health information. That's pretty smart. So they're engaging third-party developers. You know, for anybody who might have been excited about, you know, any kind of wrist device, I don't know if you're necessarily going to hear about it today. Yeah, that's interesting. So they're making it easier and cleaner. Easier and cleaner. Did I just say cleaner? I think I did. Easier and cleaner. So what's so smart about this is it's helping make data smarter. I like that. Helping make it more accessible. At this stage I haven't latched onto any kind of health product because they've all kind of been messy and kind of kludgy to this point. And I've looked at them like, they're good, and I might wear them. And they're fun, and they're fashionable. I guess I'm not as active as I should be. Maybe that's the problem. The problem isn't with the hardware or the software. The problem is me. I do not need a device to tell me how unhealthy I am. Do they have an unhealthy app? That's my question. Hang on. Checking in with the live stream, making sure everything's still good. We are, yay. You guys are doing healthy, I assume. So Craig's going on and on and on about health and healthcare and patients. I like the opportunity to gain access to better data. Depends on if your healthcare provider wants to integrate with health. I'd imagine they would if they have an iOS app, theoretically. Family sharing. Easy way to share what's important. Now, we may be talking about data. He says, when I was a kid, the refrigerator was the center of family sharing, which it was. We can't family share on our refrigerator because it's not magnetic. It's stainless steel. So it is, clean. So now you can set up your family as a family unit on your iOS devices. They'll automatically get to share photos with PhotoStream. Calendar sharing, sweet. Family reminder list. So that's great for shopping lists. Configuration with Find My Friends. Find your family's devices. Great. So now I don't have to log in on her phone, or she doesn't have to log in on mine. And they're also used to sharing media. But he notes that, right now it may be tied to one account or another. Now, this is fascinating, whether we're talking about apps, phones, data. Hang on. You can now get to the purchases for all the members in your family. Oh, this is awesome. So now, if Diana could be on her ID, I can be on my ID. She could be able to get the media. I could get her media. She could get my media. I mean, because ultimately you're watching this stuff. You're sharing the same stuff. Share the same credit card. Works really well for kids, he says. Now, I don't know what. So now if your kid makes a purchase on like their iOS device, you get a push notification to accept or deny like an in-app purchase, any kind of purchase that your kid might make. Don't worry, hon, you got free reign, kind of ish. So that's kind of nice. Now he's on to photos. We all take a lot of photos. Yes, we do. I don't share a lot of my photos though. I Instagram everything, and then that's good enough. iCloud and photos are coming together. Every photo you take on all your devices. That's nice. As long as all the way you manage it on one is synchronized with another. Yes, they're preserving edits and organization. Awesome. What about quality? Your device has access to more photos in the cloud than it can physically store locally. So it's gone. I'm like the need for that is now eliminated for a massive amount of storage. Search. Now there's search in iOS 8 photos. So they have suggestions. Yeah, but you can't name your photos. You can name your folder, I guess. Unless you're synchronizing photos independent of your iOS device, which is valuable. Search allows you to search on location, time, album names. So that's rich. That's better than nothing. New smart editing tools. This is nice as well. Smart controls for light, color, potentially even auto straightening, which is awesome. Auto cropping, awesome. The Photos app is usually what I use for quick enhancements. For instant contrasts, I might use something like Camera Plus. Default apps are usually the easiest way to get anything done, because you're not dealing with a lot of hiccups, usually. So Craig's pulled up, or he's pulling up search to try to find something that he may have taken a picture of. And I think this is going to be a bigger deal if you take a lot of photos with your phone. And I do, it's just, I'm not a big photo taker. I'll do a lot of video stuff. But not really even with my phones. I'll take a picture, but ultimately, unless it's an awesome picture, will I keep it? I'll just crop it down to Instagram and share it, because not a photographer. Toy photography, yeah, but not really. I'm sure that's going to change with the addition of baby Pirillo in the family. So interesting. How do I describe this? It's basically a software that works a lot like iMovie, the photo editor. So he's tweaking the light within, or an image within the photo. But the nice thing is, you don't have to. The nice thing about the way he's done it. Sorry, it's hard to listen to him. Instead of tweaking brightness, contrast, exposure, highlights, shadows individually, you can if you want. But at the high level, if you slide the slider along, it'll adjust all of those accordingly to optimize the quality of the image. Same thing for color. Love it. Oh my God, that is so you can go granular if you want, or you can just stay at a high level, and that is super easy, super clean. Makes sense to me. I like that because usually I'll have to adjust brightness and then exposure and try to get the right level with the eyeball. I mean, if the software can figure it out for me, thrilled. So that edit now went up to the cloud immediately. See, we're not an average family. We vlog everything that we do. We don't take pictures necessarily. So he's got, you can favorite a photo. It'll show up in your favorites on your on throughout your iCloud connected devices. And he was basically demonstrating that when you add a favorite on one iOS device, it shows up in the other iOS device. Same editing features on the iPad. Of course, the layout is slightly different. Because you've got a different kind of screen. We're comparing iPhone screen to the iPad screen. And the changes are live in real time. No need to hit refresh. No need to exit the app. You can edit an image on one device. And you're done. It automatically works on the other iOS device. And they're working on a ground-up photo solution for the Mac, built with iCloud in mind. Shipping early next year. They're giving us a sneak peek. Thank God, because iPhoto sucks. I've never liked iPhoto, ever. Photos is what they've named it. This is an early sneak peek. Okay. Looks kind of like a photo browser. Some images or thumbnails are larger, some are smaller. Doesn't look extremely clean. He's pinching out for moments to see all the moments and collections. So it's on the Mac, it's now looking a little more like the Photos management, the new version of Photos that's going to ship next year is looking currently like the Photos app browser on iOS. So there's more parity. What do they call that? Synchronicity? No. Continuity. This is an example of continuity. Pretty clean. Edit tools right there in line. The window changes state from lighter to darker. So this is a way better version of iPhoto. Way better. Oh my God. Yeah, this is the easiest. That would be the easiest way to edit tweak a photo. Tweaking photo, brightness, contrast, very simple. And I think that's the name of the game. You can be complex, you can get complex if you want to get complex, but I think the easier something is, the more people are going to be prone to do it. And the fact that this is what's genius is you just don't have to worry about it getting to it from point A to point B. Love it. Love it. iCloud photo library coming with iOS 8. Now, he didn't say iOS 8 is next year. He said that the desktop photo editing viewer synchronization tool is coming early next year. Great. Okay, I can wait. I don't manage photos, so it's like that's not a killer feature for me, but I can imagine it would be for you. Windows as well. There you go. All your photos and videos, original format and resolution. Use your iCloud storage. Now, how much is your iCloud storage going to cost? 5 gigs are free, 20 gigs for 99 cents a month, 200 gigs for $3.99 a month. Tiers available up to a terabyte. That's reasonable. 20 gigs for 99 cents a month? I don't even think I have 20 gigs worth of photo. Honestly. I mean, but that's nice. It's automatically backed up. It's automatically synchronized. Windows users included. Okay, what more as a Windows user might you want? Other than, more. So. Oh, okay. Oh, crap. Place cards, another. Oh, Shazam with Siri. Speak screen. They showed all the features that they have in iOS 8, and I wasn't quick enough to get a screenshot to go over it. Siri now has, automatic recognition. Like you can say, "Okay, Google," and it goes. You can say, "Hey Siri," and then it responds. Shazam song recognition. You can purchase iTunes content from within Siri if you want. Streaming voice recognition. So as you talk, you can see what it's recognizing. Hello. Android's had that forever. 22 Nick dictation languages. Hopefully English is one of them. In China, maps have been improved. China's a big deal, especially for any company like Apple. Vector-based maps, lunar calendar support, improved predictive input, improved weather data, turn-by-turn navigation. This is for China specifically. Which I don't know how many people in China are watching this video, but for Apple, China is a huge growth market. For any company, huge growth market. How many billions are in China? How many billions? A lot more billions than in America, I can tell you that much right now. So here comes Tim on stage. I'd imagine we're going to hear when iOS 8 is shipping. If we ended the keynote now with a giant release, but there's a lot more. No! Tell us when iOS 8 is shipping. So he's saying what iOS 8 is going to provide for developers, extending your capabilities to make apps that you could not create before. This is interesting. It's fascinating. Because I'm pretty interested in this whole iCloud universal access. Oh, they said Windows. They didn't say Android. I wonder why. 1.2 million apps available. Oh, whatever, dude. How many... You want to use 4. I don't care how many million apps your App Store has. 300 million App Store visitors every week. That's a big audience. And they're not just browsing. They're downloading. I've got an idea. I've got a couple ideas for some really cool apps. I couldn't build them, but I've got some good ideas. I need to learn how to be a developer, huh? Or find a really good developer. They're trying to make the App Store even better. So, they're rolling out a number of new features. This is specifically for developers, but it may benefit you as a consumer. They're adding an Explore tab to help users find the app they're looking for. Okay. So you can browse through categories and subcategories. That might be valuable. Top trending searches. That's kind of nice. It's kind of nice. They've got a live what people are searching for. Recipes is a top search. We should launch an app called Diana's Recipes. You'd download that, wouldn't you? Continuous scrolling list for searches, related searches. This is very, very handy. Very useful for consumers. Editor's choice logo. So you know that it's a qualified app versus something that's junk. First time developers they can make app bundles. Oh, genius. So you can be one developer and buy a whole bunch of apps in a bundle instead of just each app at a time. Oh, that's going to make developers so much money. I'm going to lose so much money. That's what it boils down to. Wow. Great. App previews. Finally. Oh my God. This is going to save me from so many crappy downloads. You can make video. Now, they've had this in preview for a couple of apps in the App Store. Now developers can make short videos for their apps. So you can make sure it's something you want. Oh, I love it. Long overdue. Long overdue. Google had this already, though. So give me some customer service feedback. Test Flight. I think they acquired Test Flight. So now beta software can be integrated, or beta access for iOS apps. Yep. You can now be a beta tester for an app on an iOS device. All free, all seamless. Nice. And he's talking about many more features to the new App Store. They're investing a lot in the App Store, which makes sense because it's a huge money driver. He says everything will be available in the fall in relation to the App Store. Now, he's talking about the SDK, referring to the software. He said, for those of you not developers, because you know there are people who are not developers who are watching this. This release is the biggest release since the launch of the App Store. Okay, but what does that mean? Give me some context, Tim. Giving developers capability. Okay, tell us what. Okay, so apps can be pushed to the whole new level. Great. So who's talking about it? Is it Craig Federighi? Is Craig coming out? It's Craig. Craig's back on stage. I'm telling you, they got to give this guy more stage time. He's my man. This is a big deal. Developers need better tools. 4,000 new developer APIs. Fantastic. Extensibility. Now, this is a new feature of an SDK, or their SDK, specifically for iOS. Apps can now extend the system and offer services to other apps. Booyah! I think this is what people have been clamoring for. Me, take it or leave it. I haven't been hindered by it, but hey, I wouldn't turn it down. So, cross-communication between apps. So he's talking about the security model. Apps are, very secure. They're sandboxed. So, talking about how they're handling extensibility in an iOS way. So they're creating they've got a sandbox, or the app within a sandbox, which keeps it protected from other apps. And so, basically, an app communicates through iOS, can talk to the extension. So it's secure. So each of the independent apps stays in its sandbox, and iOS basically mitigates the communication. An app like Pinterest could, offer a share sheet if you had Pinterest installed. If you look at actions, and it looks like they finally cleaned up the actions menu. That looked like crap before. Oh, cool. So they showed how a third-party app could have Bing Translate in Safari. Nice. Photo filters is now a part of the SDK. Any third parties, we covered this before, like OneDrive integration, Box integration. Dropbox isn't there, but I imagine it's just a third-party addition. Copy from WebDAV, or WebDAV. Widgets can now be programmed for Notification Center. Just like Notification Center on the desktop, you can now have widgets in the Notification Center on iOS. Has the widget argument disappeared yet? Awesome. Okay, that's cool. That's nice. I have yet to find really good widgets that I want to use, though. Yo, LockerGnome needs some kind of widget. What the hell widget could we make? You tap my face and I go, uh-oh. That's not my idea for an app, by the way. So he's demonstrating extensions. This is, if anything, this is probably going to force me to clean up my iOS devices, because it'll just clutter up these menus, and I just want to keep just the items that I want to use. So nice. So he's basically in Photos using a third-party app that has a filter that iOS doesn't have. Uses the filter, it goes back to Photos, and so you can edit. You can use another photo editor from within the default Photos app. That's basically what you can do. Genius. Genius. New widget available. Interesting. Because he downloaded an app that contains a widget. Okay, so he taps it, and it shows you a preview. And so you can include or not include. You can position it in the list of widgets of where you want it. Looks clean. Looks efficient. Looks perfect if you like sports. Because that's what's genius about that. Because he showed the sports scores. My dad will love that. My brothers might like that. They're into sports. So new on eBay widget. That doesn't look very clean, but I'd imagine it's down to the developer. So what he's doing is he's bidding. He's bidding on eBay through the Notification Center. Oh my god. Oh my, yay eBay. I got an eBay coming up, a video coming up this week, by the way. I should tease this. I've got 4 eBay gift cards to give away in eBay videos that are going to be posted to this YouTube channel. So, oh wow. So he's on a page, text is in Japanese, he's on iOS. So he basically pulls open the Bing translation extension through the third-party, the menu, the action sheet, Bing Translate. So Safari or Apple didn't have to have translation built in. The Bing app, installed on iOS, was able to translate in Safari using this extensibility mechanism. And it's all secure. So you don't have one app potentially damaging any other app. Or basically taking the whole system down or compromising security. Of course, until someone finds an exploit, and then it's likely to be patched. UI defined by Pinterest. So wait, so the extension in one app is gives you a different feature. So he's effectively showing a Pinterest widget in the eBay app. Oh, I'm sorry, not the eBay app. Oh, the Safari app. So wow, that's clean. That's God, developers are going to have a fun time with that. Wow. The ability to install system-wide third-party keyboards. Okay, I guess. I like the iOS keyboard. But if you want to use, what is it, SwiftKey or a swipe, and by default, they run within the sandbox, no network access, it's all local. But if it requires access, it can give you can get access from the app. I don't know, dude. I don't know about. For people who like it, that's great. But I'm not a fan of. I would not be a fan of giving any third-party access to my keyboard. Just not. Don't want that personally. I don't care if it offers better suggestions or whatever. Touch ID is getting an API. Because it's very convenient. Very convenient. Very secure. Let me put it this way. Anything can be exploited. It's to the degree of difficulty that it takes to exploit something like that. Passcode usage before Touch ID was about 50%. Now it's up to 83%. Third-party apps can take advantage of Touch ID as well. So for authentication... Oh, dude, this is awesome because it destroys the possibility of passwords. What I would want, what would be a killer feature for me to use Safari on the desktop, is authentication from my iPhone to a web browser, so you can unlock keychains. It keeps the fingerprint data itself completely protected in the secure enclave, so it never actually talks to the app. The third-party app never sees it. Dude, this is... God, that's what I... Seriously, like an app that I do this, and then it logs in the web browser. Love it. Camera APIs. Manual control. Exposure. White balance. Focus. And they enhanced the PhotoKit API. Faster performance. Read and write to library. Non-destructive edits. Delete with permission. Wow. Health kit. Now they're covering this with the SDK. HomeKit. Okay, now this is probably that home automation thing that they were talking about. Potentially good for people like me who have all these internet-connected devices. Okay, so he's got a Hue device, or Hue bulb, which of course we love. He's got a door lock. I don't have I'm a little nervous about the door lock. Oh, he showed door cam. Skybell, which is a horrific. Don't buy Skybell right now. Horrific Wi-Fi doorbell. Sorry, I'm not very happy with that one at all. They're just trying to make it easier for the apps to work. For them to work with your iOS device. Home automation leaders. Common network protocol, thank God. Because that's one of the problems I have with Skybell. Locks, lights, cameras, doors, thermostats, plugs, switches, secure pairing, control individual devices, group devices into scenes, Siri integration. Wow. That's cool. Something like get ready for bed, and the Hue bulbs change, the garage doors closed, the doors are locked. That's cool. That's pretty smart. So they don't need to make their own products. They could just enable third-party developers. They just make it a clean and easy experience for users. Like, it's a perfect position for Apple. No problem there. CloudKit. today, if you're a developer and you're writing an application and it needs like a web component, I'm quoting from Craig, you end up having to write 2 apps instead of just one. In addition to client side, you have to write server side as well, which is a pain in the neck, takes time. And you have to have the expertise to do it. Dealing with app logic, authentication, asset storage, database storage, search, notifications. Now, with CloudKit basically takes over the cloud part and just makes it easy for you to just address the client-side model that lets you access the iCloud authentication on down the line. And when it comes to paying, it's free, effectively free. So now, with limits, because it scales the data out of your hands or your need to worry about data and puts it within Apple's cloud. 1 petabyte worth of assets, 10 terabytes worth of database, 5 terabytes a day asset transfer. Wow. So that's going to make it really convenient and easy if you had that as a bottleneck. Which, I can't imagine this being a bad thing. I'm sure some people are going to find a way to be disappointed with things. But 3D graphics. Metal. And he did like the metal. 3D graphics. Metal. OpenGL. Now, I realize if you're a DirectX kind of person, can't help you there. And now he's talking about 3D performance with Metal. OpenGL is like a layer of overhead on top of the game, or the game on top of the OpenGL layer. Metal reduces the overhead of OpenGL, getting the game bare to the Metal access to the A7 processor at this point. Up to 10 times faster draw call rates. This has got to be a big deal for gamers. Dramatically reduced overhead, access to not just graphics, but computing power of the GPU, pre-compiled shaders, efficient multi-threading, designed for A7, which is the current range of processors on the iOS devices. Working with Unity, Crytek, EA, Epic Games. I wonder if we're going to see an Infinity Blade. That's the free app this week, by the way. Hang on. Are we going to see Infinity? And starting with EA. Yeah, Infinity Blade 2 is currently free on iOS. I don't know if you guys knew that, but you should get it for free. Plants vs. Zombies. They're showing a demo. Over 1.3 million triangles at a time. And do depth of motion effects, depth of field effects. They're using their Frostbite console engine that they thought they could never bring to mobile, and now it can. Crytek. So they brought their console-level graphics basically to iOS. Up to 4,000 draw calls per frame. Up to 10x the type of performance they were seeing previously. Wow, you want to talk about a quote-unquote free upgrade. I mean, not for you necessarily, but, oh yeah, Epic Games. Tim Sweeney's coming out. So, I bet you it's gotta be something like that. So, that to me is a free upgrade for an iOS user if your game developer or any developer needed access to 3D graphics like that, took advantage of the API or the SDK. So, that's fantastic. Zen Garden is a demo app here. See, that's the kind of app for me. It's just something casual, something fun. This is full-time, real-time, high fidelity. Wow. It looks like a pre-rendered scene. Granted, it's not perfect, but it's a hell of a lot better than a lot of the cutscenes I've seen in the past. But it looks like a pre-rendered scene, but it's live. So he's talking about a huge variety of materials without a high impact. So Metal, whoa! Dude, is this like a 60 frames per second? Dude, the graphics performance on this thing is stellar. Wow. And then he's going over to... I hope they release this app, because I want to play with it. So see, this is what I'm saying. It's like a free upgrade for people who have apps. If the developer, uses this part of the SDK, you'll have this, this device here, and because it has a processor that takes advantage of it, the iPhone 5S, or one of the later generations iPad, effectively, you could get an upgrade to the software and get increased performance, increased graphics quality without paying any more money, without getting a new device. That's pretty genius. Metal. Metal's the name of that. I don't think gamers will be disappointed in Metal. So he's interacting with this live dynamic scene, showing the high level of quality. High frame rate too. Even with this coming in through a stream, I can see the frame rate. 3,500 individually animated and rendered butterflies, all flying around the screen very smoothly. No skipping. This is with a video, though. No skipping. Looks clean. And this is taking advantage of Metal, basically undercutting the overhead that was previously, I guess a bottleneck with OpenGL. They're really they're Apple's up in their game. I think this is they're up in their own game, if only for gamers. Or just graphics in general. I mean, graphics aren't just for games. Of course, I'm a casual gamer. I'm supposed to say that. As soon as iOS 8 is available, they're going to make the Zen Garden, that app that we were just demonstrating, will be available for free. If only as a good demo when iOS 8 is available, which hopefully at some point we'd hear when it would be available. I'd imagine it's going to be available at some point later this year, let's guess. On an iPad. That's an iPad. They didn't demonstrate it on an iPhone, but I imagine you've got it, working in conjunction on iOS. Sprite Kit in relation to casual gaming. Sprite Kit's not new, you should know. But this year, they've just basically boosted Sprite Kit for casual games or casual gamers. You now have support for light sources, field forces, per pixel physics, and inverse kinematics. Okay, so they're just making it easier for game developers to not have to think through these particular processes. Now they're adding something on top of it called Scene Kit. And there's like 3D rendered graphs, almost like cylinders. Yep, 3D scene renderer, designed for casual games, physics engine, particle systems, scripted actions. Even easier to make a casual game. We should play the quiet game. I always lose the quiet game. Now they're going to talk about Xcode. Some people are applauding. Other people are like, probably long overdue for an update. But see what it says, or what they say. Of course, Xcode's free. 14 million downloads of Xcode. 13 million of them were by one person, I'm sure. Objective-C, of course, this is the language. Ooh, interesting. Objective-C has served them well, but... ... What would it be like if we had Objective-C without the C? O? Do you have O? Without Objective-C without the C? New programming language. And now the crowd roars. Almost with, not exactly thunderous applause, but the roar. Whoa! So if you didn't like Objective-C, Swift is the new programming language. Fast, modern, safe, interactive. So, kicking it up a notch. No more Objective-C. Complex objects sort. They're showing that in terms of that particular... okay, so when you're dealing with objects, sorting them, Swift is faster than traditional Python or Objective-C. And when it comes to compiling data or dealing with data inside an application, and specifically in a development environment, the faster the better, because you can move your code along faster. RC4 encryption happens at 220 times faster than Objective-C. Tons of new features. Tons of new features that it sounds like the developers were never expecting they'd see. They're very happy with this. I think some people are shocked. Closures, generic. See, I'm not a developer. I can speak enough of what development is, but beyond that, they're my rock stars. Yeah, Craig says there are people at home going, what the hell are they talking about? Yes. So Swift basically takes Objective-C code and simplifies it. So instead of like 4 lines of code, you could have 1 line of code. It gets rid of programming errors because they're just not possible. I mean, not all programming errors that programmers run into, but built with the same LLVM compiler as Objective-C, same optimizer and auto vectorizer, arc memory management, same runtime as Objective-C, great. So all your Swift code basically fits alongside C and Objective-C in the same application. So you've got compatibility. So even if a device wasn't running iOS 8 with support for Swift, you have the ability to still have that code run in Swift. It adds a layer of development it's something called Playground, where you can actually play with the code live and see a demonstration live. Is this like a real-time compiler? How would it handle that? Because it looks like they're showing code on one side of a screen, and on the other side they're showing what appears to be like a live demo of the code that they're actually writing. Wow. I don't have a problem with Swift. Even as I spill water all over myself. So he's showing the Swift Playground. As he's typing, he gets an immediate response. It's running his code. Yeah, it's running the code as he types it. Real-time compilation or execution. Well, I don't know if it's a full-on compilation. Uses type inference, which means that it's easier to, not exactly like an autocomplete, but basically figure out what you're trying to do or possibly trying to do, much like a predictive keyboard might. He suggests that he can build anything with Swift. I'd imagine he's talking about a specific locally run application. He's basically writing code that's executed. This is like I did with a 10 print quote, hello world. That's where I say, I don't know if you guys knew that. That's my, when I say hello world, it's like a programming thing. That's like to test an application. Hello world. Wow. He even executes he basically writes a string and, or I guess a line of code. It executes it like immediately. Demonstrating strings in a dynamic algorithm. This is very geeky. But for developers, this could potentially be a time saver. And the more time the quicker they can write the code, the quicker they can update the code, the quicker they can get good stuff to you. I mean, I look at the code and I'm like, wow, okay, I don't know what this is. It almost looks like side by side. He's got code on one side, and then in kind of like a sidebar off to the right, it's the execution of the code, and then further deeper, the actual execution of the code. You can see what happened, within the code that was written. So it's very almost not exactly live, but pretty close to real time. Even changing the code, the preview responds immediately. Wow. That's, it's just a time saver. I can't imagine it not being a time saver. I think the people who are going to have the biggest problem with this are the people who are used to an application running a certain way, not another way. So he's basically using SpriteKit to create a game, and he's demonstrating the game within Xcode live and in real time. And he can play the game. So he's basically going into the game and testing it. It's pretty smart. This is Swift. So, like I said, I think the people who are going to have the biggest problems with this are the people who are not used to new things, or used to having their programming or development environment to be a certain way. New developers, I don't think would mind it at all. Looks very user friendly. Well, of course, being user friendly and developer don't always go hand in hand. It's fantastic. So he's adjusting within a timeline, of the code, and is actually demonstrating how you can see the code that you're writing being executed in real time and at a granular level. Instead of guessing this is what it's going to do in your head, you're able to see it. Wow, that's pretty cool for developers. And he's talking specifically about compiling for iOS, and he's just demonstrating that it just works. Now he took the game that he had written in Xcode, is now running on an iOS. The game that they just quote unquote just built. So now he's talking about scene kits. So now casual games, instead of just being a flat version of the game, he's showing a 3D version of the game. And that's, it's a benefit for casual gamers, because casual games usually are flat. 3D games, there are casual 3D games out there, but they've just made it easier, more accessible, which, is going to potentially lead to a bigger explosion to that. Why do I have a call coming in? I don't know who that is. Sorry. I get calls all the time, and I'm like, I don't know who the hell that is. Very powerful. Big deal for developers. Ready, win. Complete Xcode support. This is Swift. Swift language guide that you can get now in iBooks. Complete reference documentation. You can submit apps to App Store. Wow. Day one. You can, if you're in Swift, the app that you've done can be written directly to the App Store. Well, that's clean. That's easy. Almost too easy. They need to make this more complex. So that's the developer portion of this particular broadcast, and we're probably going to be winding down soon. And this means that the live stream we're doing now is probably going to round down here soon. So when's iOS 8 coming? When? When is it? When is it coming? When? Available in beta today for the developers at WWDC. I don't know if it's going to be available in beta to everybody. They didn't say that. Makes sense. A few more months. It'll run on iPhone 4S all the way up. iOS 8. In a nutshell. Okay. This is exactly what I expected from WWDC. OS 10, I called the ball on that one. OS 10 and iOS 8, sorry. OS 10 Yosemite. So I think we're about finished here. And my expectations were absolutely met. This is what I wanted to hear about. I wasn't expecting any new hardware at all. This is a worldwide developer conference. Anybody who said otherwise probably doesn't realize what this event is in context. So keep that in mind. Don't be, if you're disappointed in your own rumors, not mine. I'm not someone who likes spreading rumors. If you expected hardware, unless Tim throws us a curveball here, we're at the end of 2 hours. We'll see. Tim's round. I don't know if he's winding down or what. Nothing. Hardly even a mention of beats or anything, because that wasn't even worth talking about in context with developers. So I got to tell you, my thoughts are generally positive. I've got more excitement for Yosemite than I was expecting. iOS 8, it'll be nice. I can't wait to see these features and try them in hand. Usually I talk about a feature, or we see a feature, but actually using it is a different story. They've addressed one of my bigger issues in continuity, and I appreciate the continuity that they're trying to address. I want them to continue to clean up the user interface. That's just me, but it sounds like they're going down the right path with a general experience. I think it makes a lot of sense how they're approaching the marketplace. I like how they're bringing in Windows users. I would have liked to hear more about an iCloud conduit for Android. Maybe they will. I don't know. It could possibly happen. Now, Tim notes everything they talked about. This is something only Apple can do. And I think he's right. I think he's right. Google can't do it yet. I mean, with Chrome OS, it's a possibility. You know, as a conduit on the Chromebooks or any kind of Chrome OS running hardware. You know, you've got Microsoft dealing with a different set of parameters. You know, Windows has typically been an operating system that, you know, could be used by any OEM out there, which is its power. And Microsoft, I think, is inching towards that with SkyDrive. And yes, I'm sorry, OneDrive, it's going to take me forever to get over that. But getting beyond that Windows hurdle mentality, I think Nadella is doing a good enough job today. They'll continue to be able to do that. But will Microsoft ever get to that same point as where Apple is today with its hardware, software, and services in relation to consumers? And then at a deeper level, at the same level with enterprise. And there's a lot of money in enterprise. There's a hell of a lot more money in enterprise than there are consumers. Enterprise has got a lot of budget, more than you do. So I think now we're rounding out. Tim's walking off stage. This is exactly what I expected. If anybody said otherwise, like, where's the new hardware? Seriously, this is what I picture. Where's the new hardware? I was expecting new hardware. Do you not listen to the things that I say? Do you pay attention to rumors, right? Or did you have completely different expectations? Worldwide Developers Conference, not worldwide hardware stuff that we're going to show off, which is an acronym I couldn't even, I don't know what that is. So thank you for tuning in. Thank you for listening to my live commentary. My initial thoughts as I was seeing things played out on the video, as you were likely seeing played out on the video. I'm going to go ahead and wind down. Thanks again for remembering to like, share, comment, subscribe, watch more of our videos right now, become a patron. I'm going to be doing, we're going to be doing a new video today. I'm not done. We've got a new video that's going to be kind of encapsulating an idea for a new show for this channel. It is largely going to be related to Apple. I've got to record a couple segments for it now. Expect to see that at some point today. Later on this week, we're going to be launching TGIF, tips, guidance, information, and facts. That's kind of geeky kind of content that will stand the test of time versus this. Nobody's going to watch a year from now, unless for historical reference. They likely won't. I'm trying to create more content in this channel that will stand the test of time, that you will appreciate beyond the 2 hours live that you may have watched. If you did watch this deeply into the video, use the hashtag, hun? Steambowl, what? Twinkle. Use the hashtag Twinkle. Tweet me a link to this video, hashtag Twinkle. Even showed me how, take a picture of how you were watching me as you were watching the keynote, and hashtag Twinkle, I guess. Twinkle? Well, I crowdsourced, and this is what I get. So, thank you everybody for tuning in. Stay tuned for more. This was the TLDR for today, and I'm going to be working on other things now, including a separate Q&A or a deep dive specifically for patrons, as I do every weekday, and got a lot of exciting stuff coming up this week that I haven't even talked about. But trust me, you'll want to stay tuned. At this point, I'm going to leave you to your own devices, whether or not they're running iOS. We'll see you later.